So Andreas, will you take your tips and tricks session, or should I continue start with the connection group?
I think you should continue with the connection group session.
Okay. Let's switch over. So hello. Now, welcome to the connection group session, connection group mystery. Often we have the situation when you use connection groups that at some point, of course, you get in trouble, and at that point in time, I noticed that a lot of customer and engineers don't, or let's say they have some fear about connection groups because it seems complex and really they have no good tool set to troubleshoot what's going on. And now I just want to guide to one connection group issue and show, okay, what can we do to narrow it down to understand what issue do we have and how to fix it in the best case. So what we have here, I have a connection group published called M.A.D. There's a few applications a part of it, so I can start it fine. So this is my text splitter tool. Connection group is in use, so everything working fine. And this is a specific connection group with 3 applications, and on my server there's a 4th application waiting. So the 4th application is also a optional package, right? So when I do a sync, I should just update the package with the 4th, the connection with the 4th package, and everything should be okay. So far, so good. So imagine, I mean, usually let's start a bit about the storytelling. You have done this change on the server, add a new package, which you recently do, to your VDI session or RDS boxes, whatever. You do this on right now on a Friday and leave, come back on Monday, and the hell is on fire, right? Everything is going mad, right? Because something's not working, and what's happening is what we want to look at now. So let's run a publishing sync against the publishing server. Okay, so far so good. This is now, let's say I logged in the first time in the morning, our sync is running, everything good, the 4th application is coming, and people want to start text splitter tool. And as you see, this is what I thought was that repro. It's a hunting, it's a moving target. So now we don't have a repro. So what you see now is usually that the application is not starting after the sync. So what I try to do now is to go back and try to revert this and rerun the whole repro for you. Just a second. In the meantime, let's go through the cases, what we could take. This was not good. This was not good. So we took a trace on the app start, and what trace we take, I showed it later on the other box. And when we take a look at what the issue was on app start, which you should see in a second. Hang on, this was the right one. As once you see there's not much logged here, and when you look at the messages here, so package group, here, this was the actual error, could not be launched because the AppV client could not determine the environment to use. Provide a priority to the app connection group for the package and try again. I mean, this is something you have may or may not seen in your environment, and usually this means, hey, there are two packages out there with sharing the same priority, and the applicant simply don't know which one to start, right? So in this case, our AppV log even don't tell us much, right? We have that error log. Here's the notification. Something wasn't found in the catalog. Okay. And so not much. Let's make this a little bit more colorful. Let's see if this is it. No, let me take this. Go and take this one. Okay. These are the error messages which now filtered on error. And what do we have? Okay, it complains about the package. And that error here, 0006 at the end. Now, when you have no idea Monday morning what's going on, usually when you in that position, I mean, the good or the best thing you can do is always grab a Procmon trace, right? So let's see. Just loading it up. Okay. So we take this from the app start. And as you can see here below, you have over 1 million entries showing up right now, right? Okay, how to start? How can I measure it down to something useful here? Now I mean, whatever engineer you ask, you get different answers. So what we know from this log is the time. So we know at that time, the error message was logged, right, at that time. So there's one indication, but also we want to shrink it down very easily. So right now, what we know from the issue, after a sync, the application don't start anymore. We know this. What does the sync? The sync does a lot of stuff with AppV, right? Of course. So now let's limit everything which is in there to a path that contains AppV. Right now you're saying, hey Sebastian, why you just take AppV without the dash, right? I mean, AppV minus V, app minus V is for the AppV cache. I mean, we can look up if the package is there, but for a connection group per se, the AppV cache itself doesn't play a bigger role, right? The connection group, as you have heard before, are just XML files specifying the group. So let's apply it. Now you still have 2,000 entries. So we really shrinked it down. And now you can say, okay, what else do I have? I have a CMD. I don't need the CMD. I don't care about CMD. Doesn't play a role in my sync. Excluded. TI worker, something gets installed. Well, with the sync, I don't think so that this is related. Let's exclude it for now. Dism host, I don't need that. Throw it away. So, and now we have 600, around 700 entries. Let's go. So, okay, we have the PowerShell where my sync was executed. At top, we have Explorer exe doing some integration stuff and query the value for the executable, which should get started. Okay. We start browsing a little bit. Let me make this more viewable to you. There we go. So, right. So let's browse. Okay, task manager, we don't need that as well. services. We can go almost to the time when we see that issue. What time was it? 15.9.55.179. So let's go down 1.3. And now you see Explorer is doing a lot of stuff in the app-v. The app-v keys here. Let's look that up. So a lot of stuff is going on with the connection group. This is our old connection group, 8CE C3C. Let's see where this ends. A lot of queries. And here we go. We start with the new group, package version, new group. Also, Explorer is doing a lot of stuff. At the end, you just see almost success. And if not a success, you see a buffer too small, but followed by a success. So we can ignore that. We'll move on. OK. Here we go. There's first time the app-v client coming in play, checking for some run virtual for is executable. And then our application kicks in. And as you see here, I mean, at that time, when you see our terminator coming in, I mean, as the name says, terminator, it's already too late, right? So here, application is almost dead. We just try to clean it up in a good way to don't mess up with any data. So the actual issue needs to be up above here when we go through all those keys. Till now, I mean, we have shrink down it a lot from over 1 million to 500 entries. And these entries here, these seems the most valuable ones telling us something. So let's take a closer look to those values. They're very long. I mean, what you see here, they're under the math entries. You know where the math is for. If not, I'll tell you in a second. So actually, here's the complete. You see the package group, packages, entries, everything is there. The user SID, if it's global, not, and then the copy and write mappings for my user. This is my user 4401. Same thing is above, right? So now the thing is, from this information in the Procmon, you cannot simply find out the source, right? This gives indications, but here you don't find the final root cause of the issue or the solution. So what you can do now, and this is now depends if you have access to the machine, yes, then go to the machine. If not, I would recommend to do taking our trace tool, which I want to show you in a second, because this trace tool is collecting a lot of stuff, also the software hive, which we need to get a look in those registry entries. How to mount it? Very simple, run the registry editor. Go to HKey users. Let's take this file, HKey users. Come on. Load hive. Let's specify it here. So here's software hive. Open. And now the whole registry of software hive from that machine will get loaded here. So then, of course, we take a look at the app-v registry key, which is here. OK, so far so good. We have 3 packages, so packages get registered, fine, everything looks good. So what could be the issue? I mean, as we don't know, right? We are not experts. We're engineers who should get fixed an issue. Let's enlarge all those funky stuff and see whatever. Okay, user X. Okay, these are the packages. This is the version. Okay, nothing obvious. There's the SID going on. There's the SID. Everything looks good. Here's the SID 2. Okay, fine. Here's also the SID. Fine. And now we have unveiled an important point. Here's the priority, which is 0, priority 0 as well. But if you look at both registry keys, you see the SID is also set to 1. That means simply that both groups obviously are enabled for this user. Even though in the problem situation, you just see 1, right? So how could this happen? How can we see that this is at the end that we land in this situation? So what would you do now when you're in this situation and find something? I mean, if you have the machine, sure, play around, right? Remove the registry key, see what's happening, remove the SID, set it to 0, whatever. All those things might work at the end of the day. Right, but you need to decide, okay, this is the new group, the A5, C3 is the old group, so you get rid of this group. So let's see what my test client, which blame on me, so reproduction. If we get it to work now. Okay, changed. Okay, let's see. If we can get it break now. No, unfortunately not. Whatever self-healing code is happening here. What I want to show also is this get TSS tool, which you can download from this link. Here, aka.ms get TSS. I have it here. I just want to show how that actually works. So you have this TSS tool set, and right now we are working on a redesign of that whole. I mean, this is a scripting collection for support. A redesign of the tool, do some compliance issues in terms of this is all scripting, right? This need to be signed and all those things. So right now it's still there, but we're rewriting the whole thing for you to get the right data down. So how this is working, let me quickly show you. Come on. So we have the TSS tools, and the TSS is very powerful tool. So if you look at, there is a lot of stuff going on. Let me maybe pipe that out. So there's some controls, the EULA stuff, everything fine. The interesting part is here with the modules. RON, which means repro on, you can add for AppLog or AppV, Bluetooth, whatever, FSLogix, UEV, almost everything is there. We can just highlight and then start a reproduction of the issue to get a combined view of the issue, right? With procmon, procdump, whatever you need. So in our case with AppV, we usually run repro on procmon appv, and then we run no SDP, which takes a lot of time and is mainly for networking issues. So as you can see, it started running. First time EULA, you know, always need to accept EULAs. So it's just a warning if you want to network sniff that is maybe not the accurate one because you run it the first time. So it already updated itself. And you just need to run, right? You don't need to, like here you get asked if you want to collect problem steps recording, then every click, everything, we get a screenshot, which is useful. So let's do it. Here you see the data set where it's saved. This is for the the package, not package, the problem steps recorder to record the time when we support different time zones. And the interesting part is only when you come to a green line saying, hey, now you can repro, right? And that in that point in time, you simply start with your reproduction. Let me try to do this. Second window. So here now we can do the reproduction, and we will do in a second. So let's see. This one. I just try to build up the repro again. Just to show you. So the interesting part for AppV connection group is always in the catalog information file, right? The catalog is everything or nothing. So in the catalog, we have package groups, we have packages. For package groups here, it's almost done. It's nothing there. Okay. Let's see what group we have. PowerShell. PowerShell. Okay, that is running. So nothing, right? Right now, no connection group is enabled. Let's see what we have on the box at all. So let's say one is enabled to the user, we don't see it, and one is not enabled. So something is already strange. Let's look up the registry key, what we have seen before. Refresh. Okay, we have the two groups, two sits. And now, I mean, this is already an issue. This is already not good. Now, when you restart that, here you don't notice, but oh, see, maybe we now have a repro. Awesome. It's not coming up, and it's even weird as I expected, to be honest, because you see, we don't. It says enable to the user, but not to my user, obviously. I can start a normal PowerShell just to ensure. So this is the user, this was the admin. So I have this one is enabled, but it's not working. And you see the application is not coming up with any error message, nothing, right? Imagine this happened to all of your connection group applications. The only thing you see when you look up the event log, the error message that we have seen before, could not launch because the API client could not determine which environment to use. And when you see this, you say, hey, what's the problem, right? We just have that one connection group here. If you see the other one, which is this one, it's still there. So what way of solutions is now for this client? I mean, as I mentioned, you can go into registry, remove it, but the chances are that next time, week or whatever, you have the same issue, right? This is coming again. Why is this coming again? That's the question. I mean, mitigation, right? You can go in there. What also works, you can remove this group, even if it's disabled, you can remove it. That cleans the registry key as well, which is good. Or what we also found out is that you can run the sync with the force switch that fix it as well. So right now the question is, okay, where is this coming from? And I will show you. So let's fix that first by removing. Of course, this always happens, right? Too many windows. Take it. Sometimes this copy isn't working as expected. Are you kidding? Come on. Wow. Good. So far, so good. Let's start this thing. And yep, must be coming up. Good. Checking the registry key, what have changed. Well, of course, the whole group entry with the 3 entries is gone. So we just have one SID representing myself here enabled. So that's the reason there's no conflict or app. We don't need to think about, okay, what group I should start this application. But this leads still to the question, where is this coming from, right? What's happening here? And when I check in my PowerShell, now I have it. Okay, so far so good. And I also have the catalog information. So the very important piece is this XML file. This is the, I mean, if it comes to groups, that's the alpha and the omega, I would say, for connection groups. This is just like the description of the connection group. It tells you, okay, what is the connection group? What's the priority? What's the name of the connection group? What packages are in there? It simply describes what it is. That's why the API cache is like secondary here. Is this optional or is this not optional? Is it mandatory? All those things, right? Everything is here. And why is this issue happening? Because that file, I mean, the whole folder structure in my case was gone. Why it was gone? Well, because I have deleted it to show you, but in the field, we see that either it's not roaming, or what we also have seen that the roaming solution used for unknown reasons start deleting it. I don't know why, but that was the case, and people ending up with that issue, that the connection group's not working properly. So in summary means, okay, when you come to a connection group, catalog is the alpha and omega for the file system, and also I tell you about the math key. This is where the API driver find the information, right? The API service looks here above, right? This is API service world for packages, for groups. Here you also find the hash for the registry, right? Registry, staging, everything is there. This is more like the API service, but really the down level driver is looking at here. And when you run the sync, the API client has no idea, right? VDI solution, API client has no idea what's there. The sync kicks in, and then it looks up the catalog information. It don't care, right, in this stage what is here. He looks up the catalog information here and sees, okay, I have these groups and these packages belong to the group. Now the sync says, hey, I have a new group for you, an updated group. And if I don't, the API client don't has this information that already a group exists, he simply published a group, enabled a group beside the other group. From a driver point of view, writing the sit here, right? Write the whole structure, write the sit here, and then it's done, right? Every service, every client driver has done its work. But then later, when the service kicks in, say, hey, I need to start the group. Now I have the issue. I have this and the other point still for me. When I look up the sit for the user, it's still active. What should I do, right? What's the purpose of doing it? I can't do. I'm not sure. I do nothing. That's the point here. When we're here in the registry, just something I also want to point out when it comes to package groups. There were some changes now some while ago. Here, as I mentioned, this is the hash, right? This is a let's say scenario-based staging. So when you have a connection group, publishes a lot of optional package, these configuration for this particular group or users will be represented in this hash, not this hash. And then all those users are getting their information from this registry key. Before we had the issue that every user had staging for the registry, which exhausted some servers, and then we had blue screens and these kind of things because the registry was just bloated. But now with the registry hash, I think it was a relatively good and smart way of dealing with that type of situation. Also, you see here the user list. This also represent the sets of the user who are enabled from a more like server point of view, service point of view, who's enabled. Of course, if it's not here, so your sit is gone here or something like that, you might also have issues. Good, so far so good. So now we have almost solved that issue. I come back to my TSS trace. So to simply collect all this data, that's the application running. I run TSS off, and now it collects all those information, the API traces, combined traces. Procmon, I have configured, everything will be landing in a zip file. to take a closer look. So let me see if I have it here. Right now. Good. I mean, if you have already dealt with Microsoft support, it's most likely that we ask you to run something like this, or maybe multiple times, because you know when you call Microsoft support, it's always you have the work delivering and getting data to us. But here with this one and the follow-up tool, I hope we can help to make it more easy in terms of a reproduction environment or to reproduce that issue. And this is then the end time, depending on the time zone. And then it will zipped up, compressed, and then I have the data here in this MS data folder. Looked it up. Still working, but it's will come. So far, so good. Let me quickly jump back to my analysis. So this is everything that we have done from the app start. I just want to highlight also something from the sync. Let's apply this one. So here you see there's captured the sync, and also at that sync there are also some issues, as you can see here. First, auto proxy detection. I mean, this is something we can skip. This is much more interesting. The integration manager failed to handle a request for activity, blah, 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 error code 3 at the end. There's a path not found there, but for what? We see it later. There's somewhere the package mentioned, I think. Because it's okay, publish package failed. Here, package ID 6C something 78. So that's a package which could not be published. It's not part something of our group, which is then of course less important, but we know, okay, something was wrong. This is one, I mean, still have this package hanging around. It's still there for from the last M.A.D cast. And as we have the sync and we have some time, let's simply go in there and see if we can see what's in there. What the issue was, 150101. So this was, oh right, this was sync. We have our Progman here. Okay. Right, let's simply let it load. What you can see here, I just now, this is the unfiltered view. There's a lot of stuff in there, right? And this is hard. I mean, I just now have let's say, increased the font that it's easy for you to read. But what I would usually do is then, okay, there's a lot of text in there. Let's copy just maybe the package, right? And make a new filter with the package in it and give it a nice color. Okay, so these are the lines where it's talking about the package, right? So it's loading the manifest data, it's software client publishing, blah, 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 something. And I can go in there, okay, what is the last action? Okay, app path for package ID. That was the last successful path, and then it fails for some reason. And the error code, actually, if I take a look at the error code, 3 is something like path not found. Right, and this is maybe indication, okay, 3 path not found. Let's take a look if I found similar thing on the Progman side. Again, thousands of ways doing it, 4 million entries, even more. So let's see if we can maybe just filter on result not found. Maybe we found something. See, we have shrinked it a lot, but not way far enough to make anything useful. Now we can think about, okay, it was the sync, most likely we talk about the app.v client now, right? Or in a path of app.v, something like this. Both might work. Let's start maybe with the path. See if that works. So we don't need the CMD. Okay, 600. So that might be good. Thousands of not founds. Let's check the time again. No, this was not the right one. 150101 I mentioned, 1518. Let's go down. 150101, okay, nice. Add path. Catalog packages. Integration. Okay, this is all not found, but as we have filter not found, it might be not the best way, but let's highlight something here. Close to the error and remove the not found. Okay, now it looks like much more entries. So here we see, okay, we are in deletion, right? There's stuff that gets deleted. So we are too late, I would say. For the package, is this? Yeah, this is the right package. So we simply go through. Maybe we change that to the app.v client now. A lot of stuff going on, right? But here the rights are important. Fifteen 101 518, I think was the right time. 4, okay. Oh, 58, okay. A lot of stuff going on in that second, as usual. So here we have to delete, which is then too late. Let's see if we found something interesting up front. No, we don't. Here we go. Since it doesn't exist. So this is now the important piece, right? So here we found something referencing a key, which is not there. And here, when you look that up, you will not find it, of course, otherwise it would work. So the key here is when you go to the package, and here you find, I don't spot it right now, but here in that area, you should spot also some side-by-side assemblies, which simply not found. That means in that area, we have what some packages do. Let me brought that up from the app cache of the package. So when we go to the app cache, see, this is the package. And this one, the our manifest file, of course. But not Skype. Right. So now what happens is you see that, what is it? It's GIMP application. We have these payload files, this one, right? And these are the ones that you will find in the Progmon missing. But if you look up the same spot here, VFS, then you see there's no windows, no side-by-side, nothing. And where is those coming from? I mean, this is often happening when people or packagers from the MSI world said, okay, we need to clean up packages, right? Hey, we see ++ component, we don't need that, right? We have it on the client, let's throw it away. Let's open the package on the sequencer and throw all those folders away. That works, right? Sequencer throws it away, but these references in the manifest are still untouched. And on publishing time, AppV client looks that up and want to copy those files and register them with the local system. And here you get a file or path not found, which end up in the packaging is not published. Yeah, so key point actually what I want to make, when you get any traces or want to take traces, even for your own, use that tool. It's quite easy, play around, not just for AppV, for anything else. It might help in a lot of situation, profile issues, FS logics, UEV, networking, you named it, everything, almost everything is there. We will rewrite it to get a better tool out of it. But for now, it's you can find it here. Good. I think that's already what I want to show. So I'm ready for some questions if you have some. Just need to see where my Teams is.
I didn't see any new coming in.
No, that's good. Everything was clear or so unclear.
Clear glass.
Sebastian, maybe you could put the URL to the tool you're talking about in the
yes,
as an announcement there, so that people could have that.
Yeah, makes sense. Tim, makes sense. Let's do it.
I put the URL also in the newsletter.
Okay. Okay, very good.
We have some questions, but not about AppV connection groups. We have many questions about AppV, MSIX, AppAttach, and MSIX. I see here in the chat.
Okay, okay. I think, will you start with your session or your quick break, Andreas, before we start with feeding the bird?
Okay.
Or should we? Or do you prefer to do the feeding first?
No, I think I start with my short, very short